Welcome to Deep Cyber's weekly cybersecurity briefing. Here's what has unfolded over the past week. This week, one idea runs through every story. The tools we build, the data we collect, and the systems we trust are moving faster than the rules designed to govern them. And the gap between capability and accountability is widening. Let's start with the most direct example of that gap. Cybersecurity firm with Secure has uncovered a previously unknown Russian-linked hacking group called GREYVIBE, which has been actively targeting Ukraine and connected organizations since at least August 2025. What separates this group from others is its confirmed use of artificial intelligence to scale attacks, identify vulnerabilities faster, and adapt in real time to defensive measures. For businesses beyond Ukraine, this matters because it marks a clear inflection point. Nation-state attackers are no longer just persistent. They are now algorithmically persistent. The practical question every security team should be asking is whether their defenses can keep pace with an adversary that never sleeps and never stops learning. AI accelerating attacks from the outside is alarming enough, but the next story shows how AI is quietly dismantling defenses from the inside. A report titled "The Shadow Builders" examined over 2,000 applications built by ordinary employees using AI coding assistants, a practice where someone simply describes what they want and the software writes itself. These are not hobby projects. They are being connected to live company databases, internal tools, and business systems, then published openly on the internet, without any knowledge from IT or security teams. This is shadow IT at industrial scale, and most existing security tools are designed to monitor known systems, meaning these rogue applications are completely invisible to the people responsible for protecting the organization. If your company uses AI coding assistants, the honest question to ask today is, do you actually know what your employees have already built and where it is connected? Invisible applications exposing sensitive data internally is one kind of vulnerability. The next story reminds us that data exposure has a very human cost when it travels outside the organization entirely. A North Carolina man has been sentenced to more than 10 years in federal prison after selling the personal information of over 7 million elderly Americans to Jamaican criminal networks that used it to run lottery scams. He did not steal the data in a dramatic hack. He simply collected it and sold it, knowing exactly where it was going. For businesses, this case reframes a question that often gets treated as a compliance checkbox. Data retention and data brokerage are not neutral activities. Data has a downstream life once it leaves your systems, and who buys it next is not always something you can control. The takeaway is uncomfortably simple. If you are holding personal data you no longer need, the safest move is to stop holding it. The danger of data outliving its original purpose takes on an even more serious dimension when the data in question cannot ever be changed. California's Attorney General has sued the company formerly known as 23andMe over its failure to protect customer data during a 2023 breach that exposed genetic ancestry and personal health information belonging to millions of users. Unlike a compromised password or a stolen credit card number, genetic data cannot be reset. It is permanent, and so is the exposure. What makes this case particularly significant is the timing. 23andMe filed for bankruptcy, raising a deeply uncomfortable question about what happens to sensitive biological databases when a company collapses and its assets are sold off to the highest bidder. Any organization collecting biometric or health-related data should be asking right now whether their security posture reflects the permanence of what they are holding. From data that cannot be undone, we turn to technology whose capabilities are equally difficult to put back in the bottle. Anthropic has confirmed it will release its most advanced line of AI models, called Mythos-class, to the general public, after deliberately delaying the rollout due to concerns that these systems could be exploited to compromise software used by individuals and businesses. The company says it has addressed the identified risks before proceeding. The significance here is not the product announcement itself. It is what the deliberate pause reveals. Even the company building these tools acknowledged they needed more time before they were safe to release. For cybersecurity professionals, the question is not whether these models will be used for legitimate purposes, it is how quickly bad actors will probe their limits once they are widely available. And that brings us to our final story, which sits at the center of a very old debate, one that has become far more urgent in a world where powerful tools spread faster than fixes. Microsoft has publicly pushed back against what it calls uncoordinated zero-day disclosures, warning that publishing security flaws before a fix is available gives cybercriminals a roadmap to attack users who have no way to protect themselves. A zero-day vulnerability is a flaw that becomes public knowledge before the software maker has had a chance to patch it. Microsoft is advocating for coordinated disclosure, where researchers report findings privately first, giving the company time to build and release a fix before the vulnerability is announced. This tension between transparency and protection is genuine, and yet there are principled arguments on both sides. But the practical reality for any business running Microsoft software is the same regardless of which side you favor. When a zero-day goes public, the clock starts immediately, and patch timing is no longer optional. Step back and look at this week as a whole. AI is accelerating attacks. AI is enabling employees to build systems no one is watching. Genetic data is sitting in bankruptcy courts. Powerful models are being handed to the public, and the debate over who discloses what and when is still unresolved. The thread connecting all of it is the same. Capability is moving faster than governance, and the organizations that close that gap deliberately will be far better positioned than those waiting for a regulation or a breach to force the conversation. Before you go, if this briefing gave you useful insight this week, follow Deep Cyber wherever you're listening. A rating or a comment helps the right people discover the show. That's all for this week. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, and we'll be back next week with more cybersecurity updates.